Jacksonville, Florida. And first of all, I'd like to give all praises to the Heavenly Father.
Allah,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Hashem,
Hashem,
Yahushai,
Hashem,
Ha,
Ha,
Rakah,
Rakah, Qadash, Ma'amah.
Double honor to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, and salutations to the Ark that are pushing the truth and sincerity and truth, and peace and blessing to the men, women, and children that believe in the name of Yahweh by Shem Yahushai. All right, quick. Today we're going to go into some edification on Revelation chapter 20, and the time periods and the things that were going on around that time.
All right, let's get right into it. We got a couple topics on the table today, but we're gonna go into Revelation 20. All right. Now you got some idiots out there that say the pit in Revelation is talking about a fiery furnace under the ground. You got some people saying that when they talk about a dragon, it's talking about a real dragon. All right. Now we're gonna get into it. And they try to say the 1,000-year period. A lot of people teaching that the 1,000-year period is going to happen right now, and that's not true. So let's get into it, man. It seems like that's a topic that's on everybody's spirit. Even Buddy with the hat, we see you. Let's get into it, man. Revelation 20 and 1. Somebody want to start it off? All right, we're gonna try to dissect it piece by piece. Okay. All right, let's get it, bro.
All right. This is Revelation chapter 20, verse 1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand.
Right, so we know that angel that came down having the key to the bottomless pit, that's talking about Yahushua. All right, now you can get Revelations 1 and 18. We're going to prove that he's the one that's holding the keys. All right?
1 and 18.
Yep.
This is Revelations chapter 1, verse 18. It says, I am he that lived and was dead.
Right, he's the one that's living and he died, meaning he's the one that was resurrected. Yahushua, all right? Go ahead.
And behold, I am alive forevermore. Amen. And have the keys of hell and of death.
Right, so somebody read that again? Revelation 21.
All right, this is Revelation 21. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold of the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years.
Right, and it's not talking about the spiritual demon Satan. This is talking about a physical people on this earth. All right, Satan represents the word adversary. Serpent means what? To twist. It's that same spirit that was on the serpent in the garden. The same spirit that was on Cain. That spirit came back on Esau. All right, it's letting you know who these people are. The devil, the serpent, Satan. All right, devil comes from the word diablos or deceiver. All right. So somebody grab Revelations 12 and 3. You got 3. Mm-hmm. All right.
This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 7. It says, for the mystery of iniquity doeth already work, only he who will let until he be taken out of the way.
Right, so the mystery of iniquity represents Esau, all right, the Edomites.
And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and destroy with the brightness of his coming.
Right, so it being revealed through the word of his mouth today, with the scriptures, all right? He said, what? I will make the word in your mouth fire, all right? And he's going to destroy them when he shows up. That's what he's saying right there. With the brightness of his coming, when he shows up in all his glory, all right, he's going to destroy the mystery of iniquity. It was a mystery during the time of the Roman Empire because our people didn't know that those Edomites, that those Romans were Edomites. All right? So now it's being revealed today that Herod was an Edomite. All right? That Antiochus was an Edomite. That Nero, he was an Edomite. And so on and so on.
This is Jeremiah chapter 5, verse 14. Wherefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh by Shem Yahushua, God of hosts, because ye speak this word, behold, I will make my words in thy mouth fire, and this people wood, and it shall devour them.
Right, and it shall devour them. The scriptures say we gonna devour them in the kingdom. But right now it says through this word we devouring them, meaning consuming them. All right. So he said he's gonna destroy them with his word. He said because you speak this word, you become part of that fire. Go ahead, brother.
This is Isaiah chapter 54, verse 17. It says, no weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn, and this is the inheritance of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is of me, saith the Lord.
That's right. You want to speak on it?
Just a precept to back up on Jeremiah 5 and 4, how, this is our inheritance, the men that he have set up, to be able to condemn anyone that buck up against his word, man. So we be able to devour them with this truth.
All right.
That's right, man.
I had a little bit more on that.
What you like? Revelations?
Thessalonians.
All right, go ahead. Yeah, y'all want to get Revelation 12?
All right. This is Second Thessalonians, Second Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 9. It says, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders.
Right. So that's why he's the adversary, because he does the works of the devil. All right. The lust of your father you will do. So they're doing the works of Satan. What does the word Satan mean? Contender or adversary. All right. They're doing the works of evil. Okay. So they're talking about Esau. Now, precept, come.
Yeah. This is the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 21. And Savior should come up on Mount Zion to judge the mount of Esau, and the kingdom should be the Lord Yahweh.
Right, and that's in the kingdom. All right. So the saviors it's talking about is the elect. You got one savior, Yahweh Shai, and he's creating other saviors, which are the elect. And they're going to show up to judge the Edomites in the kingdom, especially. Can we get Revelation 20 so I get back to the point?
All right. This is Revelation chapter 20, verse 1. It says, and I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit, and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years.
Right, and that's accurate with the 1,000 years. And we're going to find out who the dragon is real quick. Go ahead, brother.
All right, this is Revelation 12 and 3.
Yeah, next line.
And there appeared another wonder in heaven. And behold, a great red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his head. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to earth. And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her children as soon as it was born.
Right, and we all know that is who? That's talking about who? Herod. All right, Herod was part of the Roman Empire. And he was set up to try to devour the child of Israel. Who is that? Yahushua. As soon as he was born. All right? And Herod was a representative of the red dragon, which is the Roman Empire. You see that? So we know who the red dragon is, or the dragon is, because it said the red dragon is talking about Esau. Okay? Go back to Revelation 20.
All right, this is Revelation 20 and 2. It says, and he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years.
Right. Go ahead.
And cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more.
Right. Can somebody get Daniel 4 and 17 and Revelations 6 and 4?
4 and 17.
Yep.
Yeah, 4 and 17.
Yep. Daniel 4 and 17.
This is book of Daniel, chapter 4, verse 17. This matter is by the decree of the watcher, and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and give it to whomsoever he will, and set it up over it the basin of men. See, like
Right. No, that was great. That was great. So in Revelation 20, where it said Yahushua came down with a great chain in his hand, the Father sent him to bind up whoever he wants upon the earth, or to free whoever he wants upon the earth. Whatever's bound in heaven or free in heaven is going. Whatever's bound in heaven is going to be bound upon earth. All All right, the Most High gives the command in heaven, it's going to be free upon earth. All right. So now let's get Revelation 6 and 4. Let's keep going into that whole topic dealing with the red horse and the red dragon.
This book of Revelation, chapter 6, verse 4. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon.
Right, that's talking about the Greek Empire, okay? And that's what it started with. That's what it started with, was the Greek Empire. All right, go ahead, brother.
To take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, Come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse.
Right, oh, that was it. So the red horse, he was given a great sword. Now, what was the blessing that was? I think it was 25.
And by thy sword thou shalt live, and shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion.
You started 38.
This is Genesis 27 and 38. And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck.
Right. Now, what happened, see, it's talking about Esau. So now you know his blessing. What was his blessing? The sword. So through Alexander, the red horse, they gained that blessing through the sword, all right, and was able to gain the whole earth. And then you had the Roman Empire that followed up behind them. Now let's get, I'm gonna get one more point. You see, it said the red empire, which was the Roman Empire, which would be the red dragon, dealing with Herod. Now, somebody get 2 Kings 8 and 20. See, what happened was, it was a time where King David, he set garrisons up over Edom, so we took them down. All right, we had them in subjection.
8 and 20.
Yep.
All right, this is 2 Kings chapter 8, verse 20.
But then the same dragon, the same devil, this mystery of iniquity, they broke out from under our grip. All right. He said until he take the yoke from off his neck. Okay.
All right, this is 2 Kings chapter 8, verse 20.
Right. He took that yoke that David set on him. The Lord used David to set a yoke, a trap on them, and Esau took that off of them by revolting. All right. And it was during the time of Jehoram, around 842 BC. Go ahead, brother.
God, in his days, Edom revolted from under the hand of Judah and made a king over themselves. So Joram went over to Zaire and all the chariots with him, and he rose by night and smote the Edomites.
Smoke.
And smote the Edomites which compassed him about, and the captains of the chariots and the people who fled into their tents.
Right. It's more on that. It say that people Edom revolted until this day.
Verse 22. Verse 22, it says, Yet Edom revolted from under the hand of Judah until this day.
There you go. All right. So they living out their blessing, man. They living out their blessing that Isaac put on them to break the yoke from off of them, and to also to rule by the sword someday. Besides that, when did they live by the sword? They came out of Edom, Mount Petra, in the 8th century, dealing with the Nabateans, the Syrians, and the Africans. They chased them out of there. So when did they rule by the sword? During the time of the Greeks. All right, with Alexander, he started ruling 334 all the way to 330 BCE, when he took down the Persian Empire. All right, it was a 4-year war, a siege. And then from that, you get the Diadochi in 312 BC. All right? So from that, you get Antiochus Epiphanes with the Greeks. All right? And then later on, who do you got? You got Julius Caesar out of the Triumvirate. And from Julius Caesar, you get, what was his name? Marcus Antony. All right? And And then after Marcus Antony, you get Octavian, Augustus Caesar. He was the first. He was known as the first citizen of Rome. He the one that established the Roman Empire. All right. I think it was 27 BC. So where was we at? We was, go ahead, let me see it.
This is Maccabees chapter 1, First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 1.
Right.
And it happened after Alexander, the son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Shittim, had smitten Darius, the king of the Persians and the Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece.
There you go. Right. He was blessed with the sword. A sword was put into his hand. All right. A mighty sword, meaning destruction, was given to him. Just like the red horse and the pale horse. That power is given to Esau in these times to destroy. The power of life is given to us to be able to give life to the brotherhood. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 2, it says, and made many wars, and won many strongholds, and slain the kings of the earth.
Right.
It says, and went through to the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations, and so much that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up.
There you go, man. And through him, Daniel 8, I think it is. It's spread out into 4 corners. All right, and that's where you get the Diadochi. What is that, Daniel 8? We ain't gotta get it, but with Antiochus Epiphanes, right? All right, and then now where we at? Can we go back to Revelation 20?
Yes.
So that's the basis. That shows you how the Lord was conjuring them up as a nation, bringing them up out of the caves of Eden, you know, out of Petra. All right, just to put them back in the caves again in the fall of Roman Empire. All right, go ahead, brother. I'll start from the top again.
Start from the top. Okay.
We gonna pray, do that a couple times.
All right, cool. This is Revelation 20:1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand.
Right, so now you know what that is, the key that he has. All right, the bottomless pit, it represents a destructive situation, a falling on the inside. You know, Rome fell from the inside, and it continued to fall. So Europe represents that pit. All right, not it's a guy out there, man. I don't know his name, but you know his name.
His name is Teachers of the Truth.
Yeah, that guy there. He's a teacher of lies. But what he believes is that the pit is where demon spirits go. And the scripture that he tries to use is in Matthew, where it's Luke, where it says the guy had demons on him, right?
Oh, legions we are many.
Legion.
Yeah.
And then he sent them out to the pit. He's like, don't send us into the pit,
Yeah.
right? Let's get that real quick. Why not, man? Let's get it. You know what's that?
I can find it.
Let's get it real quick. Why not? I know it's in the New Testament. Yeah, I'm pulling it up now. Things are loose. Yeah. Yeah, he said, don't send me into the pit. He said, send him into the swine. Yeah, Mark. That's what Luke 8 and 30.
This is Luke chapter 8, verse 30.
If you help him out, you know where it's at. Like the point.
It says,
I'm trying to look something up.
and Yahushua asked him, saying, what is thy name? And he said, Legion, because many devils were entered into him.
And that's another scripture that he uses to represent, saying that Babylon is a people, not a place. And that's where the judgment is going to be on the people, not America. Saying Babylon is not America. That's what he referenced that to also.
Verse 31, and they besought him that he would not command them to go out into the deep.
Right there. He tried to say the deep. That word deep, if you read it, it means pit. Now, that's how you know the word pit can be used for many different things. The pit that we reading of in Revelations 20 is not that pit. All right, I'm gonna prove it right here. Where is it at? Somebody go to Mark. It's the same scripture.
5 and
Yeah.
13.
Now let's see what the deep is.
All right, this is
Let's wait. He that guy is saying, if you listening to, yeah, he's saying that the deep represents the pit or an abyss or a fiery place where the spirits go. Like the Lord sent them. We're gonna send them into the fiery pit. No, we're gonna show you where the spirits, the demons go. Go ahead, brother.
gone. All right, this is Mark 5 and 13. It says, and forthwith Yahushua gave them leave, and the unclean spirits went out and entered into the swine, and the herd ran violently down a steep place.
One more verse.
Yeah, you missed my point, brother.
Look. All right, this is St. Mark 5 and 12. It says, and all the devils besought him, saying, send us into the swine that we may enter into them. And forthwith Yahushua gave them leave.
Wait.
No, you missing the part. You gotta go up higher.
8, start at 9.
All right, verse 9. It says, and he asked him, what is thy name?
Mm-hmm.
And he answered, saying, my name is Legion,
Yeah, there you go.
for we are many.
Mm-hmm.
And he besought him much that he would not send them away.
You get it a little louder too, brother.
Gosh, it says, and he besought him much that he would not send them away out of the country.
Oh, where? Wait, after you said the deep. I thought you said the pit.
It says, and he besought him much that he would not send them away out of the country.
Oh. So when the demons were saying don't send the demons into the pit or abyss, he meant into the deep deserts. Let's prove it. Matthew 12 and 4. It wasn't talking about a fiery pit under the ground. He said out into the country. So it's not talking about some damn fiery pit. All right? That's a cut. Matthew 12 and 44.
This is Matthew chapter 12.
Oh, actually, let's go up one more. 43. He kept, cause that guy on there, he kept saying Revelations when it was speaking of they should be dwelling in the pit, be burning. It should become a place of unclean spirits and foul creatures. Yo, the unclean spirits. Yeah, you're talking about demons and spirits or animals too. But this is different. When the unclean spirit goes out of a man, it doesn't go into a fiery pit under the ground. All right? There's no place under the ground called Gehenna and all that. Go ahead, brother.
This is Matthew chapter 12, verse 43. It says, when the unclean spirits is gone out of a man,
Right.
he walked through dry places, seeking rest, and found none. Then he said, I will return into my house from whence I came out. And when he is come, he found it empty, sweet and garnished.
And sweat, yep.
Then go he and take with himself 7 other spirits more wicked than himself, and they enter in and dwell there. And the last state of that man is worse than the first.
Right. No, what it say above that? It said what? They come from dry places, talking about the desert land. All right, wherever the Lord got them at, it ain't no fiery pit under the ground. All right, let's get what's that? 1 Kings, we say he saw a spirit sitting on the left hand and on the right. Right, we ain't gonna get too deep into this topic, but I just wanted to make that point. You know what I want to do? Yeah. He said sitting on the left and on the right. Things in
Right
Kings.
here. This is 1 Kings. 1 Kings chapter 22, verse 19.
Yep.
And he said, hear thou, therefore, the word of Yahweh. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne, and all the hosts of heaven standing by him on his right hand and on his left.
Right, there you go, man. So you got spirits on the left hand side, you got spirits on the right hand side. All right, and even the Most High send those spirits down here from the heavens. You see that? And there'll be lying spirits in the mouth of prophets or whatever, like this guy. teachers of lies, man. The guy with the hat and shit. You know, I wasn't gonna bring him up, but yeah, it kind of went there. That's the spirit. So now let's get back to our point, man. So that shows you that the pit is not a fiery pit underground, the bottomless pit. The bottomless pit is representing the condition of a certain place, an area. Even till today, they call Europe the bottomless pit, dealing with finance. You can look it up. When they'll say Europe has become a bottomless pit. They'll say Britain has become a bottomless pit because of the Brexit. You see that? It's making a reference to that area being an impoverished area where we had them in a low condition during the Byzantine Empire. All right? So let's get back to Revelation 20.
All right, this is Revelation 20:1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that's old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. And cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal on him that he should deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that he must be loose a little season.
Right, so who is that talking about? That's talking about Esau, man, being bound up. And the Lord didn't come down here with one person, Septimius Severus, and bind them up. He didn't use just Septimius Severus. All right, so who did he use? He used a process of time, different people to tear that place down, different Germanic tribes and barbarians to come in and take down the western leg of the Roman Empire. And so now we might have to go on Revelation 17 too. But so when did they start to fall? All right, when did they start to go into that impoverished state? Because you had, as I was saying before, you had 27 BC. You had Emperor Gaius Octavius. He was called Augustus Caesar. Everybody know that. You know knows that name of him, Augustus Caesar. And Augustus Caesar started ruling. He was known as the first citizen of Rome. All right, and they started something called Pax Romana. Okay, can somebody look up Pax Romana on Google? No, you did. I know you did. Pax Romana on Google, and because you had from Julius Caesar, all right, you had Mark Antony, and then you had this guy Caesar Augustus, all right, and that's what started the Roman Empire, and it was written in Caesar's will, his will, W-I-L-L, that Augustus Caesar was his son, but he really wasn't. He was his nephew. All right. So that's why they chose Augustus later. So now, after you had Augustus, you had who? Tiberius, and then after Tiberius, you had what was his name, man? Claudius, and then after Claudius Caesar, you had Caligula. And Caligula was around during the time Yahushua died, 37 BC, 8 BCE. It's like it, 37 CE, Common Era. All right, that was the time that Caligula died, right? So now after Caligula, we just about to bring something up.
I got a Pax Romana.
Bring that up real quick. Then I'm gonna go to the next one.
All right, this is Wikipedia for Pax Romana. It's for Roman peace. Is a roughly 200-year-long period in Roman history, which is identified with increased and sustained inner, what is that? Hegemonial peace and stability.
Right, so that's the point. Go up one more again. All right, that's the point.
All right, it says is a roughly 200-year-long period in Roman history, which is identified with increased and sustained inner hegemonial peace and stability.
So it had peace on the inside of the Roman Empire. You see that? So it was peace in Rome. So the Lord said he stopped that and bound them up for 1,000 years. See that? While the Roman Empire was working their iniquity, the mystery of iniquity already do its work. That's what Yahushua was saying around that time. All right? Because again, you had Octavian, you had Tiberius, you had Claudius, then you had Caligula, and then you had who? Nero. But who did you have over Judea? The province on the lower level. You had Herod, the Herodian dynasty, and the Agrippas. Right? All right. So the last of the Herodian dynasty was Agrippa. So now you have that. You have Claudius, Caligula, Nero. When Nero came into power around 37 CE, after the death of Caligula, that's how you know they were both there at the death of Yahushua. All right. When he got into power, he basically tried to kill. He basically killed himself. All right. Nero killed himself in 68 CE or AD. All right. Nero killed himself, and he was the one that started what you call the Roman-Jewish Wars in 66 AD. All right, 66 AD to 73 AD. Now, 68 AD, he killed himself. But there was a person that tried to stop that assassination from happening. And who was that? It was Nerva. Nerva was the emperor later. You see that? And he was supposed to be, he was known to be a Jake. So you had Nero, once he killed himself, that created something, that created the chaos in the Roman Empire. There was never such chaos in the Roman Empire since the time of Mark Antony, after Julius Caesar died, when they killed Julius Caesar. Then after that, you had the Roman-Jewish Wars, all right? When he died, that created something called the time of the four emperors. All right, this is important stuff, you know, you can jot it down too, the four emperors. The time of the four emperors, all right? That was with Nero. But once he died, that created the time of the four emperors. Those four emperors, one was named Galba, Galba. The other one was named Otho, Otto, Ottho. And then you have one named Vitellius, all right? I think it's Vitilius, Vitellius. And then you had your boy, Vespasian, all right? So that was called the year of the four emperors. And you have Vespasian. Now, Vespasian got into power in 69 AD. Once he took office, he didn't want to go into Jerusalem. So he wanted to wait for the Romans to tell him what to do, because now he was a consul. Because that's what they called him before they called him emperor. They called him consuls or emperors. So before he took his seat, he sent his son in there, Titus. Now after Titus went in there and destroyed Jerusalem, 70 AD, see the next year. Definitely had the Vespasian dynasty. That was Vespasian, then his son Titus, and then his son Domitian. Domitian is the one that built the Roman Colosseums and built the Ark of Titus, right? That we always talk about. The Ark of Titus. That's the one that built that in commemoration to Titus. And he built it with the funds and the gold and everything that they got from Jerusalem. When they came in to sack Jerusalem, and it's written about in the Josephus. Josephus, he witnessed all of this, all right? So after that, you had Domitian. So after Domitian, that's when you get who? Nerva, all right? That's Nerva. See that? So after Nerva, you get, that was like around the 90s. So after Nerva got into power because of that, the situation he tried to help Nero with, you know, he basically ratted on the dude that was going to kill him, assassinate him. So now Nerva got into power. Once he got into power, you had somebody named Trajan, and that was around 100 AD. Around 100 AD, that was known as the golden time for the Roman Empire. All right, the Pax Romana, the peace of Rome. Okay, so you skip. It was basically the beginning of the Nervanic bloodline. These was all Jakes. All right, and from them you get the last one of the guys named Pertinax. Pertinax, his own generals of the Praetorian Guard, they killed him. They set up to kill him. And guess who was trying to help set up Pertinax? It was Constantine Chlorus. See how it come together? Constantine Chlorus, right? But you still have Septimius Severus up in there too in the 2nd century. I kind of skipped that, but Septimius Severus, all right? But Severus, let's go to Septimius Severus real quick. You had Septimius Severus around the 2nd century BC. Septimius Severus, he did nothing but try to annex, which means to join the British Empire to the Roman Empire. All right, he was going around killing any of the Praetorian Guard that were turned against the generals. So they respected Severus. All right. So now you had what was that? The Praetorian Guard. You had a guy named Pertinax. When Pertinax died, you had Constantine Chlorus take office. All right, and after Constantine Chlorus, they had a rule that if one person ruled, they split the empire from one empire to the western leg and the eastern leg of the Roman Empire. Somebody get Daniel chapter 2. Let's get Daniel chapter 2.
Which one?
No, where it says the iron mixed with clay, the iron leg part, the legs are part of iron.
Verse 41.
Yes.
This is Daniel chapter 2, verse 41. Or just start at 40.
Where it said the legs, yeah, the legs, the thighs,
Thomas 5, verse 41.
so
This is Daniel chapter 2 and 41. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay,
no, it's a part.
Yeah, 32.
32. This is Daniel 2 and 32. The image's head was of fine gold, his breast and his arms of silver.
Right, so the head is talking about the statue of Nebuchadnezzar. The head of fine gold is talking about the Assyrian Empire going into the Babylonian Empire. All right. So now it said the breastplate of silver and what else?
Breast and his arms of silver, his
Right.
belly.
You got two paps on your chest, right? And you got two arms. So that represents 4. What is that talking about? The Persian Empire, the what was that? The Medes, Lydia, and Babylon. All right. Go ahead.
His belly,
That was through Cyrus the Great. Go ahead.
his belly and his thighs of brass.
Right. So one empire that was of brass, the Greek Empire, right? That was the Greek Empire, and then it's going to change into 2. Go ahead, brother.
His legs of iron.
There you go. So legs, you have 2 legs. You see that? So this is where the kingdom split into 2. Eastern leg of Rome and the western leg of Rome. Now, what was that about? They basically took the administration or the legislators, and they had them judge over 2 sides of Rome, meaning making it easier. You deal with it from your view, we're gonna deal with it on this side. It makes it easier and quicker, right, to transact and do things. Now, Constantine Chlorus, I forgot what side he was given. I think he was given the Western Empire. Now, what happened was whoever became the emperor had to choose each other's son. You couldn't choose your own son to be the next ruler. So you had to choose the other person's son. And that's what happened. They chose Constantine to be ruler of the eastern side. See that? Of the east, which we call Constantinople today. When Constantine came into power, he took that area and called it Constantinople. Right. All right. And that was around 315 AD when he came into power. Okay. And then you had 323, I think, was the Edict of Milan, where he allowed everybody to start celebrating Sunday worship. All right. And he made it so that the Christians can celebrate Christianity freely. All right. Just like America does today. He made that part of the law. So that stopped the persecution that happened on our people during the times of Paul. It finally stopped, all right? So now, after Constantine, in 325 AD, he had the Council of Nicaea, okay? That set up Christianity today. All right? So now, after him, but actually, I think it was after him, you had, after him, you had the Huns. Attila the Hun. You ever heard of him? Attila and the Huns over the Asiatic tribes, man. A lot of people say he was a Jake too. I don't know. But the Huns, right? And you had a lot of barbarian tribes that would come against. You had a lot of barbarians Just real quick as you can. Yeah, just shut it as quick as you can so it stops speaking. Come on, Mark. Now, before Constantine, well, after Constantine and them, you had something called the crisis of the 3rd century. All right? You had something called the crisis of the 3rd century. So, yep, you had something called the crisis of the 3rd century, right? And late into the 3rd century, that's what helped establish the fall of the Roman Empire, all right? All these things that I'm trying to name to y'all and putting them out there. All right, you had Nerva, but he didn't really do anything. They brought peace in the damn empire. You had Severus, he brought a little havoc, but he didn't really do anything. So what did it? It was the Germanic tribes, and that it was called the crisis of the 3rd century, man. To where all those outside nations, those Germanic Edomite nations, they started coming up against each other. And what did it say? Satan divided against himself can't stand. All right. And this was all culminating up into the fall of Rome, man. The fall of the Roman Empire. In the Roman Empire, the last emperor was named Justina. All right, Emperor Justine. Wow. So, and that was around the 5th century. All right, so basically the fall of Rome lasted from 1 AD, 100 AD, all the way to 500 AD. And around 500 AD, that's when you get the establishment of Islam, and that's important. Now, if you want to learn about Islam, you got to start at 500 AD. That's when the language started and everything. They mixed the Arabic and Greek and Hebrew together, and they created what you call today Arabic. All right. So, all of this was happening, culminating all the way up until the 5th century. All right. The Byzantine Empire, what's that called? The crisis of the 3rd century. All right, that's what it was called. You got that right there? Can you read that real quick?
All right, this is the crisis of the 3rd century. It said the crisis of the 3rd century, also known as military anarchy,
There you go.
or the imperial crisis, was from 235 to 284 AD.
Yeah, you ain't got to skip. It was right before Constantine. Go ahead. You got precept? All right.
All right, was a period in which the Roman Empire nearly collapsed under the combined pressures of barbarian invasion and migration into the Roman territory.
Right. So the barbarians started taking all the what is that? You're going a little fast.
Oh, slow.
Yeah. Read again.
All right, so the crisis of the 3rd century, also known as the military anarchy, or
Military anarchy. See that? So go ahead.
all right, or the imperial crisis, was a period in which the Roman Empire nearly collapsed under the combined pressures of barbarian invasions and migrations into the Roman territory.
So it nearly collapsed. It didn't collapse yet though. See that? And that was towards the end of the 2nd century. All right, and going into the time of Constantine. All right. Now, can you pull up the Huns? The Hun dynasty. So now you had the Hun dynasty, and you had all those Germanic nations, the Germanic tribes of Esau, like the Vandals, the Visigoths. I think it was 7 of them at that time, and later it was established as the 10 common markets. All right. Well, let's get the Huns. I just want to get the timeline down.
I got a little something.
You got something?
To say no one knows exactly where the Huns came from. Some scholars believe they originated from the nomad, young people who entered the historical record in 318 BC.
Yeah.
And
I got
terrorized
318.
China. 318.
318. See? So that was around. That was early 3rd century. All right. That was right after the crisis of the 3rd century, but it still went into the 3rd century. That's what's called the crisis of the 3rd century. And then you had the Huns. So all of this was happening in the Roman Empire. That's why the Lord called this the bottomless pit. All right. you know, it was just a lot of hell happening, a lot of shit, a lot of murder and death, and kingdom was passed from one hand to the next. I know you, yeah.
They said that's
I
why.
know that one too.
They said that's why the Great Wall of China was also reportedly built to help protect against the fighting and stuff at that time.
We got a little bit more on it. On the Huns. Come on.
Yeah, not too much detail on them, but just kind of the time period. Yep.
By 370 AD, the Huns had arrived on the Volga, and by 430, the Huns had established a vast and short-lived dominion in Europe, conquering the Goths and many other Germanic people living outside the Roman borders, and causing many others to flee into Roman territory. The Huns.
So look, you see that, right? You see that? So what caused the other nations to come at us? It's the Most High. What caused us to come at these other nations? The Most High. That's why he said he give it to whomsoever he will. He conjured them up. He told us the Babylonians will come up against us. A fire is coming from the north. Remember that? He was talking about the Babylonians into Israel. All right. So when the Lord send a nation like that and hell upon a nation, it's from him. He had the keys in his hand.
He hosts the host of the battle.
The host of the battle. He mustered the host of the battle. So he used the Huns, because if you look at the map of the Huns, man, when the Huns came, I don't know if you call it the north or not, but wherever they came from, like you said, in the east, they scattered all those Germanic nations, man. All those Vikings and shit. They scattered there. I was talking about all the way around to Carthage. It was going everywhere, and it forced them to have to go at Rome. You know, bring that out.
This is Mark chapter 3, verse 24. If a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand.
Right.
And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand, but have an end.
There you go. He has an end. All right. And that was letting you know, like, yo, all that chaos, the Lord was showing you that the Western Empire was about to fall. All right. And they didn't, back then, they didn't know that the Western and Eastern Empire. You know, it was called that later, in the late 3rd century. You see that? When they started coining their coins as Byzantine. All right. And it was a land called Constantinople that they, what's the name? Constantine. He went to a place called Byzantium and he named it Constantinople. They later started producing coins called Byzantine, something like that. B-Y-Z-A-N, Byzantine. All right, that's a hard word to say, man.
Yeah.
So it deals with coinage. So that's why they call it the Byzantine Empire, but it's really called the Dark Ages of Constantinople. All right, and he ruled for, they had that for 1,000 years, man. All the way from that time period, right, around the 3rd and 4th century, all the way up until 1453, when the Byzantine Empire was taken down by the Ottoman Turks. Go ahead, brother.
All right, it says the Huns, especially under King Attila, made frequent and devastating raids into the Eastern Roman Empire.
Yep.
And in 451, the Huns invaded the Western Roman province of Gaul, where they fought a combined army of Romans. What is that?
Visigoths. Yep.
Visigoths, and the Battle of
Catalonia.
Catalonian fields. And in 452, they invaded Italy.
Right.
After Attila's death in 453, the Huns ceased to be a major threat to Rome, and lost much of their empire following the Battle of Nadia.
Right. So that basically shows you that the Lord raised up the Huns real quick. They didn't really have no purpose but to tear down Rome. Right.
Raise it.
Yeah, raise it. And they weren't really going after the Eastern Empire. They were going after the Western leg. All right, that's why all the chaos was happening at. It was like swarming, but the Eastern side was just calm. They had some raids going on over there, but they was focusing on the Western leg of Rome. All right, that's where all the power seat was at. All right, everybody that operated in the East were operating under de facto, meaning it was never separated, but just go over there and rule, and any issue, we'll deal with it like that. but it's still one empire.
Huh.
You know, as long as we agree on that. You know, so that's basically what it was. All right, so where we at? I got another point to make. We're good.
You still want that precept about the kingdom being translated to one person?
Yeah, kind of.
This is Sirach, chapter 10, verse 8. It says, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another.
Right. Riches gotten by deceit, man. So that's how Esau got all them riches, man. Right? That's how they got all them riches. So now, if you go from that time all the way up until I'll say the 12th century, all right, 1266 AD, that's when you had the Ottoman Turks started their empire. It was a ruler, I don't know his name, the main ruler, the first ruler of the Ottoman Turks. He had a dream that his arms stretched out all the way across the room, and he was a tree. And he said that he through that dream, anybody know what that? Lord, open your ears, speak in a dream. Yep. And in that dream, he said because of that dream, he started the Ottoman Empire. All right. So, and we know that Nebuchadnezzar had the same dream. All right. When they said they were going to crop off the top of the young twigs of Israel, and all the birds of the field were going to come nest in the branches of Babylon at the time. So the same thing was told to the Ottoman Turks, and then that's when they had a lot of people from the Caucasus and over there in southern Russia that was on Islam. A lot of them Edomites, just like they have the Turks over there today. They're Edomites. Over there in Turkey and Istanbul, they're all Edomites, but they got Muslim names. I forgot the ruler name. The ruler of Turkey.
I know Turkey's a completely Muslim country, but they all Edomites.
They're all Edomites, man.
Pretty funny.
So when you hear about the Ottoman Turks, you hear Muslim names, so it can throw you off. You'll think it's Arabs. But they use the Arabian armies and the Edomite Ottoman Turk armies, and the Caucasians, they were so impoverished, man. They were in such poverty from running into the mountains, getting ran out by all those Germanic and Vikings. They was against each other. They got ran out into the mountains. Those elite bankers of that time. They got ran out, and they were living in the mountains and shit, in the caves. Yep.
This is
Yep.
with the dream. This is Job chapter 32 verse 14. It says, "For Yahweh speak once, yea twice, yet man perceive it not. In a dream and in a vision of the night, when deep sleep fall upon men and slumbering upon the bed. Then he opened the ears of the men and sealed their instruction."
There you go, man. All right. He did that with Alexander. Alexander was talking about dreams he had. Antiochus. You know? Cool. All right. So now I forgot my point. Where was what was you just reading?
Job chapter 32 verse 14 all the way to 16.
Okay, yeah, the Ottoman Turks. So the Ottoman Turks, when he had that dream, that's when they started their conquest of taking those lands back over there in Istanbul. They started taking back Constantinople, taking back all those areas, and naming them under the Ottoman Empire. You had such impoverished Caucasians, they were called Carcassons. It sounds like a carcass or some shit. Right? Same thing, right? They were called Carcassons. They started migrating into the Ottoman Empire. You see that? From the mountains. Because they were in dire need. They were dying out there.
Precept.
Yep.
It's Job 30:5. They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as after a thief. That's just talking about, just referring to the nation of Edom. You know how that state, that's the original state of being harbored.
Yeah. There's more on that, I think. Yeah.
To dwell in the clefts of the valleys in caves of the earth and in the rocks.
What does the word Caucasian mean?
Cave
Cave dweller. So they were living in the caves in Edom and Petra in the 9th century, in the 8th century. When they had a peace treaty with Israel, but then they broke it during 586 BC, when they came and burned down our temple. And they were pushed up into the caves around the 3rd century. We'll say the 3rd century, all right? The 3rd century going into the 4th century, because that's when you had what? The sack of Rome, all right? When Rome fell, okay? So, now, you had the Ottoman Turks, 1266 AD. They started the Ottoman Empire. And they ran all the way until the 19th century, 1918, all right? But within that, that's when they took Constantinople, and Byzantine Empire fell in 1453. So now let's go back to that scripture in Revelations 20. You got fact checking?
Oh no, I was just in case you wanted to bring out any more, I was just going.
Okay, then.
You know what I'm saying? All right, this is Revelation 20:1. It says, "And I saw an angel come out down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season."
Right, so ever since then, ever since the 1400s, and that's when you have what you call the Renaissance period. All right, when did the Renaissance period start? I think it's 1520s or 1420s. Yeah, somebody pull it up. The Renaissance period, and the word Renaissance means rebirth. All right, that was the rebirth of the Roman Empire, man, the western leg of Rome. Okay, and then that's when you get. One second, brother. So that's when you get Caesar Borgia, right? Caesar Borgia.
14th century.
It was 1449 to 1650.
Yep, the Byzantine,
Renaissance.
the Renaissance period, right? So 1449
to 1650. I'm gonna get the Wikipedia.
Yep. So that was from the 1400s, all right? So from the 1400s, you had the rebirth of their nation, and that's when you had something called iconoclasm. They started going around doing something called the destruction of the icons. All right, we had paintings like the Apostle tried to show you in that book he had. You got the catacombs of Rome.
Oh, it's called Art of the Byzantine World.
Yeah, the art of the Byzantine world, man. All right. And now, where you have a lot of dark-skinned faces that were painted on these walls, man, in the graves of the Jews. All right. But yeah, but
This is First Maccabees chapter 3, verse 48. And laid, it says, Shalakim, and laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen have sought to paint the likeness of their images.
right. And they've been doing that since the time of Antiochus Epiphanes. And they try to paint it not only on the walls, but they paint it in your mind. All right. They teach lies. They tell you the Lord's name is Jesus. You know, their images. They tell you he's a so-called white man, and then they paint it so your eyes can see it. Just like the media today, they push all that shit in your face. You know?
Force feeding. I appreciate that.
Job chapter 9 verse 24 says, "The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the
Can't hear you,
face.
brother.
The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the face of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?" Oh, so he covered the face of the judges thereof during the time of the Renaissance period. They covered up all of the depictions of the disciples and Yahushua and painted unto their likeness. So like,
And that also shows, it says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. It shows that little season to where the Yahweh by Shem Yahushua turned the earth over after the Byzantine Empire was fell and the Roman Empire was being established again. That wicked is talking about was talking about Esau and them coming back on the rise again and establish their kingdom all over again to take over the earth for that little season to siege the nations.
Precept. This is 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 9. It says, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders.
Yep.
Okay.
No, you good. We brought that out. Go ahead, brother.
The reason why I brought out this scripture again, just to show the subtail of the serpent, which is Esau, the damn devil. How, you know, they came with lies and great wonders, and that's basically what happened, man. Especially when they destroyed the icons, the true icons, and painted over it, man. Just to kind of elaborate off on Saquon when he says how they put it in your face and put it in your mind.
Right, brother.
And it goes to show you, leave it up to Esau, did nobody exist around these great times but them. Because they whitewashed everything. They got some artifacts over there in Hawaii to where they whitewashed images over there to make it seem like it was them. So they do it everywhere they go.
Good, bro.
This is 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 4. It says, in whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Mashiach Yahushua, who is the image of Yahweh, should shine unto them. So come, man, 2/3 of our people and also these heathen been blinded by the God of this world, man, which is Esau, all right? Because like the brother brought out before, Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. Okay, they've been blinded, all right? So basically what they're doing, like the brothers talking about the iconoclasm, you got 2/3 of our people calling out the Jesus, you know what I'm saying, not calling upon the true name of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. They're going after the likeness of the heathen, man.
Right, man. So, hey, let's get something real quick. Let's go to Revelation 17. One.
This is Revelations chapter 17, verse 1. It says, and there came one of the 7 angels which had 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters.
Right, that sitteth upon many waters. The waters represent people. All right, the great whore represents America, which is Babylon. And this whore came out of the pit as well with the beast. You see that? The same pit that the dragon ascended from. So what is that? Europe. It's showing you that it's talking about the over there in Europe. America was built from Europe. Can somebody get Daniel 7? Let's get that. Go to Daniel 7. Iron. You said partly kind of iron. I appreciate what you just said.
All right, this is Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 12. It says, I'm starting at 9. It says, for lo, I will rise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of a great nation from the north country, and they shall set themselves array against her. From thence she shall be taken, the arrow shall be as a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. And Chaldea shall be a spoil, all that spoil her shall be satisfied, saith Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Because ye were glad, because ye rejoiced, O ye destroyers of my heritage, because ye are grown fat as the heifer at grass, and the bellow as bulls.
Right, that's right. And it said Esau was going to be, their riches, their blessing was going to be the fatness of the world, the riches. All right, go ahead.
It says, your mother shall be sore confounded, she that bare.
The mother would be England. All right, that's where they came from, out of Europe, England. Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's the queen. They got a queen, right?
Yeah, Queen Elizabeth.
That's why they all trying to step down now from the titles, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to hide themselves, but the Lord expose them.
That's right. And they say their riches are cankered, and it's a witness against them.
And Zaquan brought up a good point in the video one of the last videos that he did, that the Europe controls the feds, the money that's being issued out here in America.
Yeah, the Bank of England.
The Bank of England controls the feds, and every president that's elected goes over there and kisses the hand and bows down to the queen.
Except for when Michelle Obama went over there, she got static for touching her on the back and some shit like that.
Yeah.
What?
Instead of like, I guess not like somewhat bowing down to her, how are they supposed to like greet her?
Yeah.
She like hugged her, so to speak, like a homegirl.
Yeah.
Oh, put us up on the equal plane. Okay.
And that goes into the next lesson. You know, they want us here and they're up here. So we're gonna kind of probably go into that too. Yeah, go ahead, brother.
All right, this is
Some good points, man. I want to kind of speak on it. But
Jeremiah 5:12. It says, "Your mother shall be confounded; she that bare you shall be ashamed."
right, that's the one that birthed America, all right? Through the UK. We just say UK.
Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert.
So that Chaldea that is talking about is America, all right, the whore. Okay, now let's prove that this whore. Let's keep going. No, where you was at? Yeah, 17.
Revelation chapter 17,
Yeah,
verse,
and then we look at that Dan.
verse 2. It says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been drunk with the wine of her fornication.
Right, then it say what? What's that scripture? The golden cup, Babylon.
And a golden cup in the hand of the Lord.
Verse 6. Jeremiah 51, verse 6.
Well, I still got it. Good job. Let's get that real quick. Because it says what? The whore. Now let's see, it says she made the world, the nation is drunk. But that was the Most High's will to use America and create America. You see that? Yeah.
It's Jeremy.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
This is the book of Jeremiah 51, verse 7. Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad.
Right. It made it angry. It don't mean confused if you look it up. All right. Matter of fact, let's get that. Get that word mad in lexicon. What scripture you had? Jeremiah 51,
7.
7. Man, still not sure. You just said it. You just said it. Yeah, we walking, man. We walking. All right, whoever get it first. The definition of that word mad. Therefore, the nations are mad because they drank of the wine of her philosophies and her lies, her demonocracy and Christianity and the dollar. You know, their financial system. All those spirits that came out of the mouth of the frog from Europe over here through America. All right. They were able to deceive the nations. On the lexicon, though, right?
It says, this is for the word mad in Jeremiah 51:7. H1984, it says to be clear, to shine, to make a show, to boast, to be foolish, to rave, to celebrate, to stultify.
Right.
Stultify.
Right. So they made them foolish. And what has Russia been saying? Russia was like, yo, we played the fool. You played us. They got rich. They got wealthy. China tried to be just like America, right? So, and now all those nations are angry and turning against America, all right? And they realizing they were deceived.
You read it, go down to definition 6. It says, to act madly, act like a mad man.
Right? All right, man. So, where are we at?
We're going to go into Daniel chapter 7.
Revelation 17. Yep. And that's going to lead us into Daniel.
This is
Let's bring
Revelation,
that power, brother, please.
Revelations chapter 17, verse 3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness. And I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet covered beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
Right, so the woman sitting upon the scarlet colored beast, that scarlet colored beast represents NATO, all right? Which was also established by the European Union, the dragon. All right, what's that scripture say? The dragon gave him power and seat and great authority. You might know that one. Revelation 13 and 2.
This is Revelation chapter 13 and 2. It says, and the beast which I saw was like unto...
Can you start from 1? It's going to break down basically the same precepts.
This is Revelation 13 and 1. It says, and I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
Right, the 10 horns goes back to the 10 common markets of Europe or Rome, all right? And basically the European Union today.
All right.
The Roman Empire. When they started the European Union, it was called what? The Treaty of Rome. Okay, 1971. Go ahead, brother.
And the 10 horns, and upon his head, upon his horns, 10 crowns, and upon his head the names of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet like as the feet of a bear.
Right, so it's showing you the beginning of Esau's empire with Alexander the leopard. All right, so he was like unto a leopard, meaning conquering quickly. That's why he had the leopard on his head. He wore a leopard on the back of his head. All right, so that's what it represents with the Greek Empire. But it's going to fall with the Russians. You see that? Through the Russians, the bear, the Lord is going to bring down that kingdom. All right, so he's showing you the beginning and the end right there. All right, that goes into Daniel chapter 2 as well. Keep on. And the Medes. Keep on.
All right, it says, verse 2 again, it says, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet as the feet of a bear.
All right, the feet represents the end of something. In Daniel chapter 2, the Lord said he's going to destroy this whole European Union and NATO when it's called the 10 toes. All right? Go ahead.
Got a quick snippet.
Sure.
It says NATO doomed, question mark. The Baltic states can't fight off the Russian Air Force. It says the air defenses of the Baltic states are too weak to stop Russia or to protect NATO reinforcements coming to their aid, according to a report by an Estonian defense think tank.
Right. And NATO was set up to quench any type of onslaught or what would it be? Conquest. They wanted to stop any type of conquest, meaning conquering a nation. So they wanted to stop Japan and Russia from coming at Europe. So they created NATO as a military beast, all right? A military structure to go against Russia and China. And who else? Japan.
All right, it says, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion.
Right. And what's that? The Great Britain. All right. And if you look up the symbol for Great Britain, what is it? A lion. All right. And that's their mouth. That's why Britain, in World War I, Britain played it was a powerhouse with the military. But in World War II, they lost so much money in army that they had to play the background. So it became Russia and America as the forefront. And America rode the back of NATO into the war and struck Japan with Hiroshima and Nagasaki through a NATO strike. That's when it all started, them being with NATO, all right? But at that time, Britain became a what? A money player. They became the mouthpiece. You see that? They became the mouthpiece, all right, for Europe and for the UK.
It says, and the dragon gave him his power and his seat and in great authority.
Right, so the dragon, being the European Union, all right, or Rome, gave NATO, this beast, that newly created beast, military structure, gave them their seat and great authority. All right, gave them authority, man. Okay? Keep on. That was it on that? So the dragon, right?
Yeah.
No, keep on.
All right. It says, verse 3. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wandered after the beast.
Right. So who was that? Talking about the Roman Empire. All right. So one of their heads was wounded. I'm talking about the Roman Empire, right?
Correct.
So and it was healed, really through America, but it was healed during the 1400s when they came out of the pit. All right. So, but America basically the revived Roman Empire. Okay, so everybody like, oh shit, we got the NATO, we got the European Union, you got America, so the Roman Empire is back. So the deadly wound is healed, the Roman Empire. All right. Yeah, this one. This one leads me right into that.
This is
We're going through the spirit right now. This is like, right.
this is Revelation chapter 17, verse 4. This is, and the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls.
Like scarlet is basically red. All right, and the woman was decked with all kind of pearls and all the resources of the world, basically. All right, the dragon, the EU, the Roman Empire, basically draped America with all these riches and gave her a money scheme to get riches from the world, all right, to be a whore. Go ahead.
Having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication.
Right. So
Verse 5. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon, the Great. I'm gonna start that over. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon, the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth.
there you go, man. The mother of harlots. So the only thing that's coming out of America is nothing but idolatry and adultery, man. All right, it's the mother of it. It's birthing out. That's what it's pushing out. All these nations that follow America make them all idol worshippers as well. You see that? So that's what it says mystery Babylon. It's a mystery. All right, this Babylon is the same whore that the scripture is speaking about. America. Yep. Keep on. We gotta go over to you'll see the word.
Verse 6. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration.
Right, so we were sold over here to our enemies, and what did they do? They just destroyed us, man. They killed us off. The Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans. All right, they put us in slavery. That's the blood of the martyrs. Blood of the land, build a town through bloodshed. Build a town through bloodshed. And that's why the brother read in Jeremiah 51 and 7, Babylon has been a golden cup. And the brother just read that the whore is the same one that, my bad, they got the nations drunk. All right? And we're gonna show in Daniel who that whore is that came after the Roman Empire.
This is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 12. Woe to him that build a town with blood and establish a city by iniquity.
Right, man. And he said, what? What did he say? Wait. And what did the Lord call him? The mystery of iniquity. So there you go, drop the book. America was established through that same mystery, Babylon, through iniquity, man. All right, go ahead. You want to read that again?
This is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 12. Woe to him that build a town with blood and establish a city by iniquity.
Right, can you get that scripture again? The blood of the martyrs?
This is Revelation chapter 17, verse 6. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration.
There you go, man. All right, so that's what they call it, the America, the Golden City.
I got precept.
All right, yeah, that's right.
This is Numbers chapter 35, verse 33. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood, it defiled the land, and the land cannot be clean, Salakia, of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it.
Let's read on.
Con. So, ultimately, this land is going to be cleansed with fire, but Esau have shed the blood of our people, You know what I'm saying? Because they have a lot of blood upon their hands. So only how can you cleanse the land is by shedding the blood of him that shed of it.
And that also lets you know that Israel got to be bombed up too. So they shed our blood over there.
Yep.
So then they're gonna have, but the only thing about America is not gonna be inhabited anymore. So the cleansing is gonna be the sacrifice in Basra, but they also got to bomb up Israel to get them up out of it. But they're gonna rebuild Israel to our liking, you know.
That land, Israel gonna be a glass floor. The whole land, Israel gonna get wiped off the map. We rebuilding that from the grain.
Ground zero.
Yeah. We go back to the grain together. Yeah, that's where we start from.
I got a precept.
That's it.
This is Nahum 3:1. Woe to the bloody city! It is full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not. All right, so the bloody city is talking about is America. We still stuck here in captivity. All right, so you know this place has to be destroyed, and with that destruction comes our salvation.
Right, man. Go ahead, brother.
This Habakkuk 2:6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that laddeth himself with thick clay. And that word clay is what? Debt. You know, in America, as the so-called white man, the nation of Edom, has created himself a lot of debt. Not just in the physical sense, but in the spiritual sense through Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Let me get one more verse.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and a wink that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them? You know, and that goes back to that them being a vagabond, man. And he's gonna have these nations turn against him, man. You know, even his allies.
Right. I'm gonna get Isaiah 14 and 3.
This is Isaiah chapter 14, verse 3.
Right.
It says, and it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai shall give thee rest from thy sorrow.
The sorrow represents hell. So he can give us rest from hell.
And from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve.
Right. Keep going.
That verse 4. That thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon.
The king of Babylon today represents the presidents over Babylon, over America. All right, and the proverb represents the parable or mystery against this place. Go ahead. That's why they call it mystery Babylon. Go ahead.
It says, and say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased.
Right, America is that golden city, man. And that's just it. It was America's the golden mirage that's used by those elite bankers over there in Europe. All right, where the power seat is at. And they use this as a staff. They use this as their strength in taking down the earth. What's that, the hammer of the earth?
That's further down in that. I think. How does the hammer of the earth see?
You know y'all get it.
You say it's in the same one?
No, it might not be.
Alright, I got it. This is Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 23. Man, I'm starting from 22. It says, the sound of battle is in the land and of great destruction. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations?
There you go. So how? Through the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right. Now, the Europeans, they have the power seat. They have the power seat. The gavel that's in their hand represents that hammer. And America is that gavel. All right. America is that threat on the earth that gives them their power. Go ahead, brother. Call the police of the world, the peacekeepers.
All right, continue with Jeremiah.
Yeah. About Isaiah 14.
All right, this is, 1 second.
When was that? 4?
Come 4. Pick back up from 4. This is Isaiah chapter 14, verse 4. It says, thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased.
Right, so America is going to be cut off, man, as a nation. Okay, the one that laden itself with thick debt, man, thick clay. Go ahead.
Verse 5, it says, the Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers.
There you go. the staff of the wicked. That's the staff of the dragon and the beast, America. Okay, and that's their scepter, man. That's what a scepter used for, to bash somebody in the head. So that's the hammer. All right, go ahead.
Verse 6, it says, He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruleth the nations in anger, is persecuted and none hindereth. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing, yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon saying, Since thou art laid down, no fellow is come up against us.
Right, that's in the kingdom. All right, once America falls, all the we're gonna say, yo, no nation's coming up against us anymore. All right, go ahead.
Verse 9, it says, Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It hath raised up from their thrones, it hath raised up from their thrones all the king of the nations.
Right, it sounds like we're talking about the ancient Roman Empire again. When the Viking, the Germanic tribes went up in there, they started taking that place down with the Huns and, you know. But you're talking about America now. So that same spirit that was on Rome was back here on America. All right, and that shows you that the Lord said, if you see Satan divided against Satan, I mean, these heathen nations coming up against this place, you know that it has an end. It's about to show up sooner or later. Just like the Western Roman Empire fell, and they thought it couldn't fall. All right?
Verse 10. It says, what? Verse 10 of Isaiah chapter 14.
No, let's get to, you know what? We can keep going with that, but let's go and get back to the point. Yeah, that's a good point that's coming up, but don't worry about it. Go on,
This is Revelation chapter 17, verse 7. It says, And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast, verse 8, the beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition.
there you go. That's that whole NATO, right?
And they that dwell,
Basically the Roman Empire.
and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world.
So the ones that the Lord came to wake up in the foundation of the world, what world are you talking about? The world of Israel. All right. So in the foundation, when did that happen? That happened during the time of Peter. He said, "Upon you, I'm going to build my church." All right. So the ones that got anointed back then, they're going to be here now, and they're not going to be deceived by this mystery of iniquity today. All right. The mystery Babylon. Read that again, please, brother. That last point.
Yeah. It says, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world.
Oh, start from 8.
Verse 8, the beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go.
Yep, out of Europe. Go ahead.
And go into perdition.
Yep.
And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder.
Right. What did it say? He that diggeth a ditch shall fall therein too. So they came out of Europe just to go into perdition, man. Somebody look at the word perdition? I look.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Go ahead, brother.
This is Hebrews 10 and 38. Now the just shall live by faith, but if any man draw back, my soul shall have no pleasure in him. But ye are not of them who draw back unto perdition, but of them that believe to the saving of the soul. So when it comes to faith, you know, the just shall live by faith, man. You know, faith is the things, the evidence and the things hoped for, the things that we don't have to see, man. We believe through the spirit and the gift of faith that we've been given, we just believe, man, that we go be saved, man, from the said perils and through the accounts that's been written in this book. But some of our people, 2/3 of our people, they fall unto perdition, all right, not believing and not living by faith, man. You know, they have to see it to believe it, you know.
And they don't believe. There's a lot of cats out there that don't believe that America is Babylon. And that's why we're going into this too.
Like that teachers of truth, like the elder Panam brought out, right? Teach with hats on and shit.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
That fool a while back, they used to say that the Vatican City was Babylon.
Try and deny.
Try and deny it. Everybody's trying to deny it. Good word for tradition.
Yeah, they tried.
All right, this is perdition from it's G52:17 from G52:59 and G71. To lead oneself under, withdraw or retire, as if sinking out of sight, literally or figuratively, to depart, go hence. To lead under, to bring under, to withdraw oneself away, to depart.
Right. So they basically gonna be cut off. All right. They're gonna be wiped off the earth. All right. So that's what the word perdition means. They got no.
It says ruin or loss, physical, spiritual, or eternal, destroying utter destruction of vessels, a perishing ruin, destruction of money, the destruction of which consists of eternal misery in hell.
There you go, man. So that lets you know that Esau going into hell on earth. That's the rich man in hell. All right, upon earth, man, in a hellish condition, meaning sorrow. They're gonna lose all their riches. They're gonna what? That Job.
You saw the restitution beat.
You know, that one too. And vomit. You gonna vomit it up.
We got one.
Go ahead, bro.
In Job 27:16, though he heap up silver as the dust and prepare raiment as the clay, he may prepare it, but the just shall put it on,
There you go.
and the innocent shall divide the silver.
Right. So that means all their glory and all their riches that they had around the world, and they hiding it in their bunkers. We about to get all of that and then some. All right, we about to get that and then some. We're gonna own their spirits. All right. In the book of Colossians, the Lord said the Lord created spirits. He created everything, and everything was given to Yahushua. But Yahushua said He's gonna give everything to us. He's gonna give us them.
But he said also in the New Testament, he says, rejoice not that the spirits is subjected unto you, but rather rejoice that your name be written in heaven. So yeah, we all
They're gonna be made subject. They're gonna be made subject, man. Good. Yeah. All right, I ain't gonna use it, Brandon.
Let me get that spirit real quick, bro.
Yeah, man. You're gonna be able to kill you. Oh, you gotta be careful with that, bro. You're gonna be able to destroy your slave and bring him back to life.
Get up. True torment.
Yeah, true torment, man. To die 1,000 times.
Whoa.
All right, and where are we at? You had a precept. You done with your precept. You got another one? Go ahead.
This is Job 20:17.
Yeah, that one.
Ye shall not see the rivers, the floods, the brooks of honey and butter, the kingdom. That which ye labor for shall he restore, and shall not swallow it down. According to his substance shall the restitution be, and he shall not rejoice therein.
Right, man. So what's that? He said according to their substance, shall the restitution be. What did they do? He said, he said we drink of the cup, they got to drink it double. All right, and all the riches that they stole is going to be a witness against them, so they got to give us that double, and they don't have anything to give. He said, "What shall you pay me? What can you give them?"
Yeah,
So you got to pay that in servitude and slavery. All right. Right. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 23, when he is about to fill his belly, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating.
Right, the dragon is about to try to fill his belly right now. They're trying to fill their belly, meaning to devour the people. All right, they got the table set, martial law, pandemics, chips, everything out there. The dollar is in place, the crash coming. But the only thing is, the Most High waiting to send Yahushua, the lion. Wait, pounce. Go ahead.
It's Obadiah 1:1. The vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord, Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. That's just the point, just to back up us at point. The ambassador is sent among the heathen.
Right.
You know that ambassador being Yahweh shot.
Oh, the ambassador among the heathen? Oh, that's Esau.
Esau?
Yes. Esau's the ambassador. He's the messenger of the heathens. But all I'm saying heathens that he was over, that he's like the top heathen. You know what I mean? That's what that means. So with him being the top heathen, the table's gonna flip. And he's gonna become the bottom heathen.
But he get the most judgment though. He don't get mercy.
Right.
The other heathens, they gonna go back into their homelands.
Yeah, they're going back into their homelands with us there.
Okay.
Right there to meet them there. He said, ain't gonna be nowhere you won't find Israel. You're gonna look in the sea, you look in the sky, in the rock, everywhere you go, in the mountains, we're gonna be there. We're gonna be living in the ocean. What's up? He saw the fuck you doing down here. Clean them rocks.
Clean
Right.
rocks.
Them rocks.
So, all right.
I got to preach something.
Go ahead, man.
This is Isaiah chapter 51, verse 22. It says, "Thus saith the Lord, Yahweh by Shem Yahushai, power of Israel, thy power, that pleased the cause of his people. Behold, I have taken out of thine hand the cup of trembling, even the dregs of the cup of my fury. Thou shalt no more drink it again, but I will put it into the hand of them that afflict thee, which have said to thy soul, bow down that we may go over. And thou hast laid thy body as the ground, and as the street to them that went over."
Right. Romans 11 and 12. No, you speak on that, bro.
Oh, so that's basically saying that cup that was going to be taken out of our hand and passed on to them. But they going to get it, according to Obadiah, we got a couple drops. They going to have to drink the whole cup. The Lord said he going to force it down their mouth.
That's double.
Con.
Yeah, give unto them double.
You said Romans 11 and 12.
Yep.
All right, this is Romans chapter 11, verse 12. It says, "Now the fall of them be the riches of the world, and the diminishing of them the riches of the Gentiles. How much more their fullness?"
Right. So they said what? When we become into what does fullness represent? Fullness has to have a starting point, and we're at the starting point right now. All right, and the sun begins to shine over the horizon, and then when that sun is in full bloom, right? So when the sun is in full bloom, that means we're gonna be at the high point of our kingdom, meaning really kicking it off, really got everything set in place. All right, that's not the word I want, but that's good enough. But at that point, they're gonna be very low. You see that? So right now it's like this. They're here and we coming here. And as they begin to fall and as we rise, the further up we are, the more they going down. And we going all the way up. So where are they going? Where are they going? How much more our fullness to their decay? And if the riches of the Gentiles be the decaying of us, that's what it meant by diminishing. It says to decay, right?
No. And the diminishing of them, the riches of the Gentiles.
Right. Right next to it, it say decay, right?
Over those little sidebars.
Yeah.
Oh, con,
Yeah.
it's like,
What did it say?
or decay or loss.
Loss. So if our loss is the riches of them, how much more our fullness when we become rich in the kingdom? How much more they gonna fall? You know, so
Meaning them rocks.
go ahead, bro.
All right, this is Isaiah 14 and 13. "For thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend unto heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Yahweh. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north.
Yep, that's from America.
I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High."
That's what those elite bankers said when they established America. They said we're gonna build all the way out there. All right, in the ocean, what you call that? The New World. All right, and within the ocean, they built NATO, meaning a military structure between different nations. All right.
"Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit."
Right, and that's talking about from America, from the rooter to the tutor. Basically saying you're gonna be brought down from America to NATO and all the way into Europe, man. All right, the size of the pit. Okay. Now, again, you got idiots out there saying the pit represents some fiery place. You ain't hear us mention that yet. And we bring out a bunch of scriptures that don't have nothing to do with no pit under the ground. You know, and I can't remember the scripture he brought out where he said it was a den of unclean spirits. You know,
Only
basically.
fowls,
Daniel.
the only fowls.
Yeah, we ain't got to get it though, but it was the destruction of Babylon. And you can go to Isaiah 13 and it breaks that down. It tells you the animals and the owls and all that. That's going to be here. The unclean animals. That's going to be left here in America. So what the hell is he talking about? He said, nah, that's talking about underground, the unclean spirits, where they go. In the hell and fire and shit.
But
No.
the scriptures say all spirits return to the Father.
Right, and it say in Revelation 9, the king that descended out of the pit. That was what was his name? Kaiser Wilhelm.
So he came underground from the fire. Like, all right.
Yeah. So who is this king? Yeah. It said the locusts and all them. The locusts. They had heads of like locusts and all that. They had a king. So who was the king? You know, they ain't real locusts. So locusts got king now. So you know it's talking about people, man. All right, that was World War I. Then you go into World War II and World War III. All right, so can we get back to we already brought that out to the pit. Yep, we said pit already, right? Okay, go ahead. Yep, 17 to 8.
Yeah, this is Revelations chapter 17, verse 8. It says, the beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is.
Right. So that, yep. Go ahead.
Verse 9. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth.
Right. So that's talking about NATO. Okay. Those are 7 kingdoms of governments that America was tied into. Okay, called the European Union, the Western European Union, and NATO. Go ahead. Treaty.
Verse 10. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is.
Right. These are talking about the 7 nations, the 7 heads, and one that fell was talking about the Roman Empire. Go ahead.
And the other is not yet come.
Mm-hmm.
And when he cometh, he must continue a short space.
Okay, that's on my Britain. All right, yeah, that's on my Britain. Go ahead.
And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th.
Right, that's talking about the Roman Empire. Go ahead.
And is of the 7 and goeth into perdition.
Right, because if you look up the 7 heads, Rome is one of them. That's why I was asking for that picture earlier. All right, so one of the 7 heads is the Roman Empire. So one of those heads that was not and is, that's talking about the Roman Empire. And the one that's going to continue for a short while, they joined into NATO after 1951. Okay, so that was talking about Britain. All right, go ahead.
Verse 12. And the 10 horns which thou sawest
The European Union. All right, 10 common markets. Go ahead.
are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but received power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These having one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast.
Right, so they gave their power, they basically financed this beast. Talking about NATO. It was so much that the European Union didn't even have an army. And they used NATO as their army. All right, go ahead.
These shall make war with the Lamb.
Right, these all together, they're going to fight against Yahweh Shai and what's called the war of heavens, the war in the heavens. All right, go ahead.
And the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is the Lord of lords.
Right, Yahweh Shai, man, Lord of lords, King of kings, man. Okay, go ahead.
And King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful.
Right, that's talking about the elect of Israel. All right. So the elect of Israel and the ones that died in the truth. Go ahead.
And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the whore
Right. If you look up the waters, or the sea, it most likely gonna say abyss or the deep. But it's talking about people. All right. And then when you look up pit, where it say that the spirits go, it's talking about country, open land, desert land, dry land. All right, that's upon the earth. Huh?
Meaning no people. They didn't want to go into a land where they couldn't enter into
It's a
somebody
body.
else's body.
They need a vessel. They need a body,
Parasite. Well, a virus.
just like a virus or a parasite.
My question is, if it was the place where evil spirits dwell, wouldn't they want to go back there? Like if that's your home place, that's where you come from. Why wouldn't you want? Like our spirit wants to go back to the heavens, right? If it was a fire pit or someplace on the earth where the evil spirits dwell, why wouldn't they want to go there? Why would they want to roam around on the earth? That doesn't even make any sense. Like he's taking the scriptures solely out of context.
You take the head off and thank you.
What the scripture says, there will be some that would not endure sound doctrine.
All right.
Oh, say that again.
Like the scripture says, it says in the last days, there's going to be some that would not endure sound doctrine.
All right.
Right. All right, where we at? Verse 15. Let's keep going on that a little bit.
Verse 15. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the horse sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. Verse 16.
Bring that power, brother. Come on.
Verse 16.
Yep.
And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore,
Right, the 10 horns, go ahead.
and shall make her desolate and naked.
That's why I said that mother that shall be ashamed of thee, that birthday. I'm talking about basically all of Europe, man. All right, you know, talking about England, but this is all the European countries, NATO, Dragon, all those countries. They're going to turn against America, the whore, and we're in that time. Basically saying the pimp used the whore to get rich off of, and now he ready to throw it away. All right, he gonna do it dirty, you know.
And shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire.
Right, so they're gonna eat her flesh. Right, eat her flesh meaning what? Taking the culture of this place away, the life out of this place. You know, because Ezekiel 37 speaks about the flesh coming upon our bones, and that's us coming back to being Israelites. So what have you took that flesh off? We would be Gentiles, strangers again. So what have you put the flesh on America? You build culture of the place. You know, the whole culture of America, the rich mirth of this place, right? And what did it say? The mirth shall cease, right? So I know you know that. I know y'all got that one probably. But the whole spirit of America is gone, man. Right? That party all the time, spirit, party and bullshit.
I was gonna Israel gave its life unto America, so that's why America is starving. Once we get our life back from America, that's why America is more like a leech, like a leech type, parasite.
Yep, you just said that. Yep. So the table's turning. The upside down kingdom gonna be flipped up, right side up. All right. So anybody got precept?
I got a little snippet real quick.
Very good.
It says allies.
Yep, the mirth, you got it? Yeah, bring us one.
This Isaiah 24:8. The mirth of tabrets cease. The noise of them rejoice endeth. The joy of the harp cease.
That's right, man. And say the noise of the cracking whips and all that. Yeah. I'm good.
It says allies and former U.S. officials fear Trump could seek NATO exit in a second term. It says President Trump is said to have spoken privately for years about withdrawing from the alliance, a move that critics say would be a major victory for Russia. So, and just to add on about that, it was a couple months ago where it said NATO is starting to dislike Trump. You know what I'm saying? And Trump is being a representation for the whole nation of America, man. So just like the brother was saying earlier, the beast will turn to hate the whore, man. So all American allies are going to turn to hate America. So they're going to be that lone wolf.
Right, name them 3 and 1. Right, man. So this is that flesh being removed from America. All right.
This is Nahum 3:1. Woe to the bloody city. It is all full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not. The noise of a whip and the noise of the rattling of the wheels.
Yeah, they're whipping us in the back. Damn whips. Just meaning all the work is gonna stop here, you know? The grinding is gonna cease. The whip deals with work, all right, enslavement and hell. Go ahead.
And of the prancing horses and of the jumping chariots.
Yep. This is all the mirth of this place. All that's being stripped away. Keep going.
The horsemen lifted up both the bright sword and the glittering spear, and there is a multitude of slain and a great number of carcasses.
You got a whole new.
Okay, hold on. You got it.
It says, and there is in a great number of carcasses, and there is none in of their corpse. They stumble upon the corpse.
Right, to stumble upon the corpses. So it's gonna be. That means what? The scriptures say, "The slain of the Lord shall be many." There's gonna be a lot of death out here, from the famines, from the martial law, the civil war that's about to happen, the sedition. You know, so it's gonna be nothing but dead bodies out here. So much, it's gonna be like Katrina. They just left the bodies in the street. Now, what would have happened if that kept going? They would have left them bodies out there, man. All right, the Lord gonna leave them there so they get burned up. And they're not gonna have money for funeral services anyway to come pick all them bodies up. All right, go ahead, brother. Keep going.
Keep going. It says,
Who up?
verse 4, it says, because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcraft, that selleth nations through her whoredoms, and families through her witchcraft.
There you go, man. They did it in the name of Christianity. In the name of their religions and shit, man. Right?
Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, power of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will show the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame.
Right, man. So they're gonna see the shame of this place and all the wickedness and corruption that America's doing, and showing that America's been bamboozling these countries, right? Through their philosophies and through their whoredoms and through their dollar and their deception.
And through their deception, they created what they call the American dream, where you had countries that wanted to leave their wealth state and citizens in other countries that wanted to come over here in America to be a part of that American dream. And that's what they were. They really weren't promoting the American dream to people here in America. They were promoting it to individuals outside America to come to this place. And that's how you get all the different kindred nations and tongues over here pursuing that dream.
With deception.
With deception. Straight. Then when they get over here, now they realize, hold on, man, this shit a nightmare.
One more verse? One more verse? Yeah, one more verse.
Okay. It says, verse 6, it says, and I will cast abominable filth upon thee, and make thee vile, and will set thee as a gazing stock.
Right, all right, brother. So America's being made that gazing stock, and everything is being stripped off the whore, all right? And showing how wicked she is. They like, she got AIDS. Don't touch her. Go ahead, brother.
This is Isaiah 24:9. They shall not drink wine with a song. Strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. The city of confusion is broken down. Every house is shut up, that no man may come in. There is a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone.
Right, man. So you know, the mirth of the land is gone.
Oh,
Damn.
I was
That's
listening
deep.
to a sort of music analysis podcast, and the dude was talking about rap culture. Back in the day, before Donald Trump was elected president, before he even ran for president, a lot of rappers boasted about being like Donald Trump. They thought that all his qualities was cool to be like. But now that he's in power, and now that they see who he is, they don't like that, and they feel bad about it. And it's because the simple fact of that America has always liked people like Trump because he embodies the entire American spirit. He embodies racism, not giving a fuck about nobody, always putting yourself up, being chauvinistic, being asshole, prideful.
Capitalist.
Say again.
Capitalist.
Capitalism. Yeah, capitalism.
Yep.
He embodies that entire American spirit.
Yep.
And that's what people are waking up to. They're waking up to, oh shit, this is America. America isn't motherfucking
Don't
rights
catch you
and
slipping
shit
now.
like that.
I was gonna do it.
Said, this is America.
Right.
Trying to tell us, man.
I got a precept.
I'll get it, bro.
This is Isaiah 26:10. It says, "Let favor be showed unto the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. In the land of uprightness will he deal unjustly, and will not behold the majesty of the Lord." All right, so like you see favor being shown to Esau right now, and you got 2/3 of our people that just shows that they trying to be like Esau, and so they can't have favor shown to them right now because they're gonna work unjustly also. So go ahead, my bad.
Come on, this is Isaiah chapter 30, verse 1. It says, woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, that take counsel but not of me, and that cover with the covenant but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. So kind of just like the brother Zariah was talking about, a lot of these rappers and whatnot, they looked up to Donald Trump, you know what I'm saying? Basically that covenant of America. Why? Because he's the basically the leader of Babylon right now. He's the king of Babylon, as the elder stated earlier. All right, so they're covering with that covenant, but not with the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. It says, and also they're adding sin into sin. Why? Because that's a heathen for one. All right, and they can't do anything right. Why? Because it's not in them to do right, man. And verse 2, it says, that walk to go down into Egypt and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and trust in the shadow of Egypt. So by them trusting in Egypt, by them trusting in the king of Babylon, they're going to be destroyed. Why? Because that's going to be the results of America, man.
That was it. Thou hand join hand, the wicked are going to unpunished for every.
Right, man. All right. Yeah, with 2 more verses? Yeah, we can probably change the topics too after that. Probably cut this and, start over.
All right, this is Revelations chapter 17, verse 17. It says, "For Yahweh hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of Yahweh shall be fulfilled." Verse 18, "And the woman which thou sawest is a great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth."
Right, man. So who did America get its power from? The Roman Empire. All right. And where did the Roman Empire come from? The pit. And where is the pit? In Europe. All right. How did it become the pit? We explained it all the way from the beginning. Ever since the first Roman citizen, who was named Gaius Octavius, which was Caesar Augustus. All right. He started something called the Pax Romanus, which was a peace between all the civilians over there in Rome. And then all up until about Commodus, I think it was Commodus, which was from the bloodline of Nerva. He Commodus during his time, his reign, that's when the Pax Romanus ended. All right, so basically all hell was breaking out in the Roman Empire. That was when Jake was ruling, of course. So when we was ruling. All right. Go ahead. You got something?
Yeah. It's Revelation chapter 13, verse 11. It says, "And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon." And those 2 horns represent the Republican and Democratic system and the whole judicial system, which is in the image of Rome. The same court system, the way the whole government and the judicial system is set up is exactly the fashion the way Rome did it. Verse 12, it says, "And he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed." So now you got NATO and EU backing America on everything. And what is America doing? Pushing the values of the European Union and NATO, which together is the rebirth of the Roman Empire. And they're sending America out as to be the spearhead pushing their values of demonocracy.
What scripture say? It's the basically the birth of Babylon, right? So like the scripture say, a proverb is, as the mother so is the daughter, so they just following suit. Picking right back up.
That's right. Can we get that Daniel 7? Let's get that real quick. And then we can change topics.
Seven of what?
Let's say the Roman Empire, the iron. Let's say bronze and then iron.
Mother looks like a bear.
Okay. Oh no, that's Daniel 7. Yeah, Daniel 7.
Daniel chapter 7. I'm gonna sell 30.
Oh yeah, keep going. You're talking about, you're reading the Persian Empire right now.
Alright, Daniel 7:5. And behold, another beast, a second like unto a bear, and it raised up itself on one side.
Skip down another verse.
Alright, I'm gonna go to verse 7. And after this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly. Okay. And strong exceedingly, it had great iron teeth, and it devoured, and brake into pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns.
Right, we know that's talking about the Roman Empire. Alright. And that Roman Empire was really established with the triumvirate with Julius Caesar, I think Marcus Crassus, and Pompey. Alright. And then you had later on, after Julius Caesar, you had Mark Antony. Alright. And then you had Gaius Octavius, which was the first title. You can read 2nd Ezra chapter 11 for this too. But the first triumvirate and the second triumvirate with Mark Antony. But then you have Gaius Octavius, which was the first citizen of Rome. That's what he called himself. Okay? And from then on, man, all hell started breaking out for them, man. Alright? Especially after the fall of Nero. You know? So when Nero fell, that really kicked off all hell over there in Rome. So, and through Rome, when the western leg of Rome fell and it was reestablished later, out of that you get what? My bad.
Verse 8. Verse 8. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots.
Right, that's what the brother just read, like a lamb, right? Talking about America. And it had 2 horns, the Republican and the Democrats. That's that other little horn. And they plucked up 3 of the horns by the roots. And those 3 horns represent France, Spain, and Britain. All right, that was called the American Revolutionary War. So America is what came out of Rome. You see that? As the scriptures we've been proving from the dragon and such, that gave it a seat and great power. So, and that happened what, 1765, 1785? That was called the Revolutionary War, which established America. And you had, right before that, you had the 13 colonies in 76? I could be wrong about that. 1766. 1776, right?
Yeah,
That's when they do that 4th of July shit.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Oh, that's you.
Yes.
Okay. So that was not that was that phone, but so that's how America got started, man. So America is Babylon that showed up after the Roman Empire. All right. So all of those are tied together. Anybody want to preach up? Oh, keep going.
I'll stand up. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things.
Right. So the eyes of man represent what? All the technology, the CIA programs, and secret societies, the surveillance, FBI, right? And he said a mouth speaking great things. And who was that? That started with Eisenhower in the 50s, where they put "In God We Trust" on the dollar. This is what he say? The pledge. One nation under God. And they call themselves a Christian nation, going against the atheists, which are Russians. So they try to say, "Hey, we Christian, we love God," so they can get support from Rome. Right? They did that so they can get support from the dragon, from Europe. All right. So there's a little bit more.
Verse 9. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire.
Wow, man. That's talking about the Most High, man. So we're gonna end it on that. We're gonna end this topic, and yeah, that's it, man. The pit represents Europe, the bottomless pit. It's not a fiery pit under the ground or a barbecue pit that you cook with. You 2/3 cook their pork on. It's not Dante's Inferno, that Roman myth poetry. And Europe and the Roman Empire are the dragon. Okay, and the woman is Babylon, the little horn that spake like a lamb, and came out of Europe, out of the pit. All right, riding upon the scarlet colored beast, which is NATO. All right, so we're gonna end the day. Anybody got any precepts on that topic? All right, so that's a breakdown on Revelations 20 and probably 17 as well. And with that, man, we're gonna end it, and we're gonna say Kav,
Kav, La, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Ha, Rakah, Wadash, Ma'amah.
All right, double honor to the elder apostles of GMS and the elders, and shalom to you, Akim, and Agwat and the children that believe sincerely and truth on the four corners of the earth. We might do another one right after this, though, so we'll see. Hey, shalom.
Shalom.
So it's Rakah, not Rakah.
So
How you start?